West Wind by Mary Oliver. 1. If there is life after the earth life, will you come with me? Even then, since we're bound to be something, why not together? Imagine 2 little stones, 2 fleas under the wing of a gull, flying along through the fog. Or 10 blades of grass, 10 loops of honeysuckle, all flung against each other at the edge of Race Road. Beach plums, snowflakes, coasting into the winter woods, making a very small sound, like this. As they marry the dusty bodies of the pitch pines. Or rain, the gray light running over the sea, pocking it, lacquering it, coming all morning and afternoon from the west wind's youth and abundance and jollity, pinging and jangling down upon the roofs of Provincetown. It's raining today. 2. You are young, so you know everything. You leap into the boat and begin rowing. But listen to me. Without fanfare, without embarrassment, without any doubt, I talk directly to your soul. Listen to me. Lift the oars from the water. Let your arms rest. And your heart, and heart's little intelligence, and listen to me. There is life without love. It is not worth a bent penny or a scuffed shoe. It is not worth the body of a dead dog 9 days unburied. When you hear, a mile away and still out of sight, the churn of the water as it begins to swirl and roil, fretting around the sharp rocks, when you hear that unmistakable pounding, when you feel the mist on your mouth and sense ahead the embattlement, the long falls plunging and steaming, then row. Row for your life toward it. 3. And in the speck of my heart, in my shed of flesh and bone, began to sing out, the way the sun would sing if the sun could sing, if light had a mouth and tongue, if the sky had a throat, if God wasn't just an idea but shoulders and a spine, gathered from everywhere, even the most distant planets blazing up. Where am I? Even the rough words come to me now, quick as thistles. Who made your tyrant's body, your thirst, your delving, your gladness? Oh, tiger, oh, bone breaker, oh, tree on fire, get away from me. Come closer. 4. But how did you come burning down like a wild needle, knowing just where my heart was? 5. There are night birds in the garden below us, singing. Oh, listen. For a moment, I thought it was our own bodies. 6. When the sun goes down and the roses fling off their red dresses and put on their black dresses, the wind is coming over the sandy streets of the town called Moonlight. With his long arms, with his silver mouth, his hands, humorous at first, then serious, then crazy, touching their faces, their dark petals, until they begin rising and falling, the honeyed seizures. All day they have been busy being roses, gazing responsible over the sand, into the sky, into the blue ocean. So now why not a little comfort, a little rippling pleasure? You there, puddled in lamplight, at your midnight desk. You there, rewriting nature, so anyone can understand it. What will you say about the roses? They're sighing, they're tossing, the want of the heart, and the trill of the heart, and the burning mouth, of the wind. 7. We see Bill only occasionally when we stop by the antique shop that's on the main hot highway to Charlottesville. Usually he's alone. His wife is dead, but sometimes his son will be with him, or idling just outside in the yard. Once Em bought a small glass ship from the boy. It had chips of colored glass for sales and cost $2. The boy was greatly pleased. Today, Bill tells us, for a mockingbird has begun to sing, how a friend came during the summer and filled a bowl with fruit from the cherry tree. Then, leaving the bowl on the stoop, he went inside to sit with Bill at the kitchen table. Together, Bill and his friend watched the mockingbird come to the bowl, take the cherries one by one, fly back across the yard, and drop them under the branches of the tree. When the bowl was empty, the bird settled again in the leaves and began to sing vigorously. At the back of the shop and here and there on the dusty shelves are piled the useless broken things one couldn't ever sell, bits of rusty metal and odd pieces of china, a cup or a plate with a fraction of its design still clear, a garden or a span of country bridge leading from one happiness or another, or a part of a house. Once Bill told us, almost shyly, how much the boy is coming to resemble his mother. Through the open window, we can hear the mockingbird, still young, still lucky, wild beak kissing and chuckling as it flutters and struts along the avenue of song. Eight. The tall, young English poet, soon to die, soon to sail on his small boat into the blue haze and then the storm, and then under the gray waves spinning threshold, went over to Pisa to meet a friend, met him, spent with him a sunny afternoon. I love this poet, which means nothing here or there, but is like a garden in my heart. So my love is a gift to myself, and I think of him on that July afternoon in Pisa, while his friend Hunt told him stories, pithy and humorous, of their friends in England, so that he began to laugh, so that his tall, lean body shook, and his long legs couldn't hold him, and he had to lean up against the building, seized with laughter, abundant and unstoppable. And so he leaned in the wild sun, against the stones of the building, with the tears flying from his eyes, full of foolishness, howling, hanging on the stones, crawling with laughter, clasping his own body as it began to fly apart in the nonsense, the sweetness, the intelligence, the bright happiness falling like tiny gold flowers, like the sunlight itself, the lilt of Hunt's voice on this simple afternoon with a friend in Pisa. 9. And what did you think love would be like? A summer day? The brambles in their places and the long stretches of mud. Flowers in every field and every garden with their soft beaks and their pastel shoulders. On one street after another, the litter ticks in the gutter. In one room after another, the lovers meet, quarrel, sicken, break apart, cry out. One or two leap from windows. Most simply lean, exhausted, their thin arms on the sill. They have done all that they could. The golden eagle that lives not far from here has perhaps 1,000 tiny feathers flowing from the back of its head, each one shaped like an infinitely small but perfect spear. Ten. Dark is as dark does. Something with the smallest wings shakes itself from under a thumb of bark. The ocean breathes in its silver jacket. Outside, hanging on the trellis in the moonlight, the flowers are opening, each one as fancy in its unfurl as a difficult thought. So we cross the dark together, Outside, the almost liquid beauty of flowers. Now the linnets wake. Now the pearls of their voices are falling in the morning light. Did we sleep long? Is it this life still? Or is it the next life already? Are we gone then? Are we there? How will we ever know? 11. Now only the humorous shadows that the moon makes, playing the corners of furniture, flung and dropped clothing, the backs of books, the architecture of electronics, and so on. The bed that level and soft rise is empty. We are gone. So say that dreams, possibilities, emotions, while we are gone from the house, take shape. Say there are 30 at least, one to represent each year, and more leaning in the doorway between the slope of the beach and the pale walls of the rooms, just moon-gazing for a moment or two before they come into that starry garden, our house at night. Some of those 30 are as awkward as children, romping and gripping. Others have become birds, clouds, trees dipping their heart-shaped leaves, that long song. Here and there a face that won't transform, eyes of stone, expressions of pettiness and sulk. And now it is winter, and in the black air the snow is falling in its own sweet leisure, for its own reasons. And now the snow has deepened and created form. 2 white ponies, how they gallop in the waves, how they steam and turn to look for each other, how they love the clouds and the tender long grass and the horizons and the hills, how they nuzzle, how they nicker, how they reach down at the unclosable spring in the notch of the pasture to be replenished. 12. The cricket did not actually seek the hearth, but the thicket of carpet beneath the refrigerator. The whirring above was company, and from it issued night and day the most prized gift of the gods, warmth. Especially in the evenings the cricket was happy and sang. Later in the night it crept out. There was not a single night when it did not find, sooner or later, a sweet crumb and a small plump seed of some sort between the floorboards. Thus it got used to hope. It revised altogether its idea of what the world was like, and of what was going to happen next, or even eventually. It thought, how sufficient are these empty rooms? It thought, here I am still, in my black suit, warm and content, and drew a little music from its dark thighs. As though the twilight underneath the refrigerator were the world. As though the winter would never come. 13. It is midnight, or almost. Out in the world the wind stretches bundles back into itself like 100 bolts of lace and then stretches again, flows itself over the windowsill and into the room. It scatters the papers from the desk. It is in love with disorganization. Now the manuscript is on the floor and reshuffled. Now the chapters have married each other. Now the alphabet is lost. Now the white curtains are tossing wing on wing. Now the body of the wing snaps. It sniffs the closet. It touches into the pockets of the coats. It touches the shells upon the shelves. It touches the tops of the books. It slides along the walls. Now the lamplight wavers. As the body of the wind swings over the light, outside 1,000,000 stars are burning. Now the ocean calls to the wind. Now the wind like water slips under the sash, into the yard, the garden, the long black sky. And in my room after such disturbance I sit smiling. I pick up a pencil, I put it down, I pick it up again. I am thinking of you. I am always thinking of you. Thanks for listening.